Alright, yo, what's up, yo? This is RGB Radio. It's been a minute, yo. It's actually been a minute. We went on a
It's
little.
actually been
We
a few
haven't been
days,
as consistent as we
not a
would
minute.
wish to be, but 2020 hasn't been consistent. So you know what? What can you do?
2020 has been freaking fried, bro. What is it? It's July,
It's July, man.
halfway through the year, and everyone is just like,
It's been a shit
July,
show.
July, July is like the guy that's already beaten up and is like, yo, July, what are you gonna bring to me now?
Bro.
Like, please stop. Please
We're
stop.
halfway
man.
through the year, and it's been a complete shit show.
It's like getting your ass whooped by a bully and he keeps going. And that's July.
But man, there's a lot of things to touch up on. I think we haven't recorded a podcast in probably like a month or like anything, but like obviously the corona stuff, we've talked about it before. Like obviously it's kind of fading away, but at the same time it's still a big issue, you know. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of shit happening. Like there's just so much shit happening, even with like all the Black Lives Matter stuff, and there's like a bunch of other shit that's happening. Like, there's just so much shit going on. It's like
Yeah.
it's hard to even just now choose what to talk about. But I think the first thing we should talk about is probably the thing that we haven't talked about, which is racism, right? So we think about it like look at what the fuck is happening in the U.S., bro. Especially like we have racism around the world. It's everywhere. Like, you can't avoid it, right? It's everywhere, and I feel like racism's kind of been here since humans were on this planet. Like, it's always been an issue. But like you look at the states and the way they're dealing with it, it's a shit show out there, man.
So
The
actually,
thing is, I never seen a country that the way they're feeling on all. I know we should focus on the racism. The way they're feeling on all aspects right now,
It's
it's
crazy,
like
bro.
they're getting exposed. You know, every
Yeah.
week. And you, but it's not just America though. I'd say, but like the situation there is like,
It's exaggerated there,
yeah,
right? It's exaggerated, and
yeah.
they're kind of like in the spotlight. But it's also the leadership they have there. Like, yo, those like, especially like Trump and those guys, man. We've already had discussions on that guy. But like, yo, like just his leadership, bro. Going through crisis, going through a pandemic, going through all this Black Lives movement, and the way he's responding is just like, bro, you're not helping anything. You're just you're making it worse.
But don't you know what's crazy? I thought just came to my mind. So we all agree that Trump is a trash president, right?
Yeah.
Like forget the president, he's just a horrible leader to lead a nation, right?
Yo, he's a
But,
horrible
like-
person. First of all, I don't know how he looks at it here, bro.
But yeah, horrible person. But yeah, don't you think it just crossed my mind right now? Isn't it crazy that maybe he was needed just to expose the extent of the systematic racism, the corruption? It's because he didn't come in there trying to, like, let's just say we had an okay they had an okay leader, right? That was in the middle, and he did the right thing when he came to the killings. When the cops killed the guy, they did the right thing right away. But I feel like just because of how horrible of a leader he is, it almost exposed the entire system. That it's not just
yeah.
yeah,
I
every
mean,
single
even
thing
like
he's
in the
doing.
past, like you've had presidents and stuff, and like obviously we're in Canada, so like we obviously we look at it from an outside perspective, right? But we see like the other presidents. There's always been controversy with the states. Like there's always been, just because they are a powerhouse nation that everybody kind of looks at, right, as like the example, right, worldwide, or like they're the powerhouse, right? When you look at even previous presidents, there've been controversy. There've been all this stuff. The systematic racism, it's been an issue, right? It's been an issue. I think just under Trump's leadership, what's happened is because he doesn't give a fuck, people are getting more fed up with it. People are getting more pissed about it. And also with the corona stuff happening at the same time, people do have more time to now fight for justice, right? So it's like an accumulation of all this shit. But at the same time, you do see the big gapping holes, like these holes that are in the system. But you would wonder, like, if there was a different president, would he be fixing these problems? Most of the time, like majority of the time, I would like to say, yeah, they'll try to do something to, you know, try to fix the problem or make it better, right?
Yeah.
But this guy just doesn't give a fuck. Like, he doesn't care. And it just like, it surprises me how much he doesn't give a fuck. I'm just like, bro, like, how do you go to sleep at night?
If anything, he's focused on statues and people destroying statues.
I know that was the stupidest thing I ever read.
10 years of prison if you get caught for damaging a statue.
It's like a kid, right? It's like a little.
Boys.
He's like, yo, you do you? Oh, you know, you can do that. All right, you know what? 10 years in prison if you touch my statue. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like
Or if you guys are gonna riot, watch, I'm gonna call the police and kick your guys' ass. And to possibly kill you guys. Literally what are you saying?
Insane, man. But like you think about it, it's like now like the bigger issue is racism, right? Like it's another like there's so many things happening. So first of all, it's like yeah, it's hard to focus on one thing because like there's so much shit happening and so much awareness for so many things, just not racism. There's so many things around the world that are just happening. It's been crazy. It's been overwhelming, that's for sure, right? So when we talk about like the main issue right now, we're talking about racism. And you look at it, bro, like I was like reading into stuff and like kind of just taking it in. I was like, yo, like we're celebrating Canada Day. They're gonna be celebrating their Independence Day. But isn't it fucked up how we're celebrating an Independence Day from what? Right?
Yeah.
Like yo, when you read into like all the original history, like yo, like all these people like back hundreds and hundreds of years, they came to these lands, literally stole people's land, bro. Like when you think about that, it's like, yo, we're celebrating Independence Day of what? Of stolen land? Like,
Yeah, it's like 100%, man. You kind of feel like shit because we not only stole land, but I mean not even we, but the first settlers, but they killed they literally massacred, genocide indigenous people for Canadians specifically and probably and Americans I believe too, and
mhm.
just like slaughtered them in hundreds of thousands and came in. And then when you celebrate, and it's like you said, you celebrate Independence Day or you celebrate Canada Day, like what are you really celebrating?
And even like now, like this year especially, you're celebrating these things, but you have these issues like racism, and there's
yeah,
obviously issues with Indigenous people that haven't been solved or even taken care of. Like they're just kind of like swept away. It's like, oh no, you have no relevance, bro. Taking how big of a deal it was even for our homeland, like our parents' homeland, like Punjab, like when the British tried to take over, bro, like it was a big deal. Like we wouldn't let them, right? So when you think about that, it's like yo, even if it was Punjab and someone just took over, killed everyone, just took over the land, right? It's insane because yo, a lot of people, especially foreigners and people outside of North America, have probably gone through it, right? Other than like maybe Europe, right, which I'm not too educated on, but you have a majority of these countries that have kind of went through that kind of shit where people
yeah.
try to come in, kill them off, or take their land or whatnot. It's insane, bro. So you look at it, it's been a problem since history, right? It's like a racism problem, but there's so many other problems.
So
Yeah, I think,
technically, it was the British that came here, right? It was the British
There's the
yeah,
British, the French.
and the French, right?
yeah, in
And
Canada.
like everyone was involved with it. Mainly the British. The British were the ones that conquered.
Mhm.
Is that so? This is technically they never like they weren't like in for example in Punjab in India, they fought back and they transferred power back to India, right? That didn't happen here, right?
I mean, they killed off all the indigenous people, bro. Like,
So
they
basically, this
didn't
is
really do.
so we're
Literally,
this is
they became buddy
uh
buddies with them, and then they backstabbed
That's what
them.
happened. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
essentially what happened. Like they're like, yeah, we'll do some
False
trade.
promises, a lot of false promises saying, you know what, we'll
Yeah,
give you this if you allow us to come in and whatever setup and whatnot.
yeah,
A lot of false promises were made, and what happened is they were backstabbed. They were killed, or even I was reading into some of the stuff that happened like down in like South America, like when the Spanish went there, because that was like the Spanish, right? They went into South America and took over. Like I was reading into some of the books and stuff, and I was like, they gave them a lot of false promises. And what they did, they bribed a lot of people in the tribes. They bribed them because they weren't that rich, right? They were like, whatever. Like back then, is like your resources.
yeah.
That's what you call wealthy or whatnot, right? They bribe people with resources, so they have their side, and they started war against like other leaders. It was insane, man. So you think about it, it's like, yo, this literally just came and just took their land, bro, killed them off, and that's it.
But is this a result of? Is this, I'm just thinking of this right now. Is this a result of Canada's a result of they never left. They were never pushed away, right? So this is basically a result of their. I'm trying to say like
I
like wait, what? Do you,
I'm
yeah.
trying to picture how other countries would be if they were not pushed out. I'm trying to picture that right now, like how other countries would be in if they were not pushed out. Because it's crazy that we're supposed to be the most multicultural. I'm not saying we're perfect. We have racism and everything,
yeah.
but we're looked at in the world. We're looked at. Oh, Canada's a nice place, multicultural. Everything's open. But this was a place that never pushed back. if you think about it, right?
Well, I
This is
mean,
a-
I
Push
don't,
back against racism.
Like this is a country where they weren't the British Empire. They stayed basically.
yeah, they conquered, right? So they once
Yeah.
it happened all throughout. It didn't just happen in Canada; it happened in the States as well, right? They literally conquered North America, and then the Spanish went down and they conquered. So again, like my facts may not be 100% right. Like this is just what I know based on what I've read. I'm not a genius or expert at this, but that's what it is. Like they took over these lands, like, and they've done that when they other parts of the world too. I'm sure, like South America was taken over too, right? So it's like
A lot of spots, man. A lot of
South
spots.
Africa and all that stuff. So
And
there's
the funniest thing is, like, recently I just saw a video. I don't know if you guys seen it. He's like a brown taxi driver. It just came out recently. Brown taxi driver, and there's a white guy in the back, old white guy.
Yeah,
it's
I saw a bit
I
of
saw
it.
that today, man.
And like the same stuff, like, oh, like the whole sentiment is go back to your country. You guys came to our country and ruined it, right? But it's not your
That's
country.
what finds me crazy because they're saying, yo, go back to your country. This is my country. It's not your country. Like your own people stole this fucking land, bro. It's no one's country. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
The the people that you murdered like hundreds of years ago, bro. It's their country. It was their original land, and we literally took it. The most fucked up thing, but like a lot of reflecting in the last couple of weeks, right? Especially like with all this Black Lives Matter stuff, and like I've been reflecting a lot. Even like when you think of like city names, bro. Like a lot of city names and roads are named after white conquerors or like people that have come here, and a lot of them like and now people are asking for name changes for like cities and name changes for streets because they were former slave owners and murderers and all that. Isn't it insane? Like yo, like we do a indigenous we acknowledge them before any like kind of event or something, right? We've seen this starting to happen now, right? But we've renamed all this land.
Yeah, after white settlers.
It's insane. What is an acknowledgement gonna do, right?
Yeah.
It's just you just kind of covering it up, or it's just you trying to just make a small solution, or just something small to like, oh, cover it up. And the same thing's happening now. Like you'll see a lot of people on Twitter and stuff saying, even with the Black Lives Matter stuff, is like, yo, without change, like instead of change, what they're gonna do is they're just gonna give you small little things to just make you happy. Maybe
like
hire more Black people in certain big companies or certain public roles, or like the Bachelorette or the Bachelor for the next season will be Black. So they're gonna try to make you feel better with these small little
quick fixes, yeah.
Right? But it's like that's not the issue. Like the issue is so much deeper than that, right? How do you help? How do you make it so that everybody has equality, right? It's almost like like for example, the treatment of Black people Black criminals compared to white criminals, right? The treatment, and even in Canada, bro. Like recently, like this one white guy tried to like fucking take his car into what's that place called, man?
Was it the BLM protest or something?
No, it happened in Ottawa like 2 days ago, and let me search it up. Riddle Hall. So this guy had a car full of guns and everything, and he like literally tried to ram his car through.
Oh yeah.
Damn, I didn't hear about that.
Apparently by reports they're saying they spent like an hour and a half talking to him, making sure he didn't do anything, right? And they arrested him properly. But when you have this other situation that happened in Malton, right, with Chaudhry, right?
Yeah.
They didn't even spend like, bro, you could have done the same thing. They killed him in his own home. So you look at like this discrimination is so deep, bro. So you think about it, it's like, like how do you make these changes? It's crazy, bro.
That's what like the whole NBA starting situation, right? Now it's like you get a better understanding is why some players don't want it to start.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it's gonna they can say that there's a big platform, you can do this, you can do that, but the NBA is starting for money. That's the bottom line, right? There's no other reason they're starting, and it's gonna start quickly becoming about, this guy dropped 40 points, he dropped 50 points, instead of like Breonna Taylor, that girl, her killers are still out there, or every single case that hasn't been solved yet, right? Or like you said, the problem of racism. It's almost true. You really gotta everything needs to stop, and just keep chipping at it until a huge difference is made. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard because the world has to keep going, but that's like that. Not like I was thinking about the last 2 days. I was like, there's a point where social media was flooded with BLM. Now it's slowly going back to normal.
And you don't hear much about the protests in the States either. They're still happening.
They're still happening, yeah, but you don't hear about them. No one's
which is
posting.
crazy. Like, because like it's like a quick fix. Like they want this. Like, yo, hopefully they'll ride out the wave.
Kind of start distracting people, bring back like MLB, bring back NHL, so people have these
Yeah,
things to just entertainment. Right now, the why it's being so pushed is because there's no distractions, bro. You know what I mean? There's no
yeah, exactly.
distractions. People are aware. They're reading into all this stuff. Like even myself, man, there's not many distractions. So we're doing more research, right?
Yeah,
Looking into more in history, seeing what the problems are, where they all started, right? It's insane, bro. And now again, like exactly some of the players like Kyrie, you kind of understand where he's coming from when you kind of think from his perspective. It's true because like if the NBA comes back, a lot of attention is gonna go to that.
yeah.
A lot of attention. So it's like
No matter
no,
even if they say like even if they give their statements, people as natural fans, you're like, especially if you're not like for example in America the big problem is racism towards black people.
Mhm.
If you're not black, no naturally as a human being, if you're not dealing with those issues directly, your mind you're gonna be more interested into like yo who dropped 50 points, who dropped 40 points, who's in
Yeah.
the next round.
Mhm.
And like it's just a natural human thing. So like I get it now. Like so, these last few days I was understanding more. It's like bro, I get it. Like it is a huge distraction. They're gonna do it because of the money, but it's crazy. And that's like what you said that make the bachelorette black. Like just do these quick fixes, and then like in 2-3 months people forget about this shit and it becomes like before.
No
Where it's
real
like
change.
yeah, there's racism, but let's not deal with this shit.
No real change. Just kind of just cover ups. Put a
But
band on it.
That's why
it's
movements have
crazy.
to be organized. There has to be a certain plan and a certain goal. You have to have a group of people working on things continuously, even while there's distractions. So I think, from my opinion, from what I've seen, the Black Lives Matters, they've organized very well. They've informed a lot of people. When you give a lot of information, there are possibilities of people going into Congress, going into higher positions, trying to fight, like actually dedicating a lot of their time trying to fight for their own rights or even rights of any other marginalized communities. So I feel like as long as everyone who is trying to fight for their rights sets up a proper system, even with distractions, yeah, it sucks. It moves the distractions away, but you can eventually achieve what you need to do. It just has to be organized. That's the same thing with Martin Luther King. All these movements were all organized. They went straight to the government, tackled it from there. And that's what's a recommendation from a lot of people. You just got to do it from the government, straight from where the power is. Get people elected
You gotta
that will
affect those people, man. You gotta somehow
Yeah.
get maybe
Yeah.
take a little bit of their food off their table, you know, to make them
Yeah.
feel it. One thing other I feel like it's also a lack of education or the lack of people wanting to be educated on it. I feel like people that are because like I think a lot of us can relate, right? Even with smaller issues and whatnot. If they're not directly affecting you, if certain issues are not directly affecting you, they don't affect your everyday life, you tend to not care, right? You tend to just let it brush it off because it doesn't affect you. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you kind of just, and you don't educate yourself on it. You become ignorant. And then a lot of people become ignorant on that. People become ignorant that go, you know what, these certain people, end of the day, bro, we're all the same people, bro. You know what I mean? We're the same. We're all humans, right? End of the day, we all do the same shit.
Yeah, well, even if African Americans are facing discrimination, I think anyone else who is a marginalized community or is a minority needs to understand that if it can happen with African Americans, it can happen to you also. Right? So there's a reason why every community who's a minority should stand up for each other, should be there for solidarity, and because you never know when it's gonna happen to your own people. So
Definitely, man. Definitely.
I think information is so key, man. So key. So
It's
important.
actually so disgusting that it's literally the core problem is your like obviously it's gotten more complex over the years, but literally the core problem is how like as the darker your skin gets, the worse you're treated. That's so like
It's so
messed up.
stupid. It's so stupid.
It's been a problem since time. That's just not like, you know, it's not just something that we're talking about. It's like you think about like in every culture, especially like okay, in North America, if you're black, you're treated differently. You're not valued, right? Like you know what I mean? They don't look at you as a human, right? Especially like the problems that we're facing now. But then you go back into like other parts of the world, bro. Like you look at like even India, bro. Like dark skin, like people like you know you're dark skin and low caste, like yo, they treat them like shit, bro. But end of the day, yo, they're just the same as you. There's no difference.
No man.
There's no difference,
Crazy,
bro.
bro.
We're all human. We all do the same shit, right? But you're gonna treat someone differently just because of the color of his skin. these people did not choose to be that color of skin. Remember that. You know, it's natural. Like it just happened, right? Right. So it's like, yo, it's insane how we can even do that. How do you treat another human that way? That's what I find. Like you really need to do some self-reflecting, man. That you're gonna treat another human like shit. You know what I mean?
That's actually
That's why
so
you,
low, yeah, man.
yeah.
Like, how do you like? It's okay what you just said about Trump. How do you go to sleep knowing
Bro,
that, like, yo, you're literally behaving not because someone caused you harm, not because they did something evil. It's because like every subject is because I think because their dark skin is dark, or I think because their sexuality is different. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Hating them just based off that is like such a messed up way of thinking.
100%,
Such
bro.
a messed up way of thinking.
Yeah, that's where the lack of education and lack of understanding
And
and
openness too, right?
yeah, and
You have to have
openness
your mind
is.
open. You have That's a challenge though. Like it's the same thing with like ego and stubbornness and all these other traits that people have. It's that stubbornness in your mind that you don't want to. Your willingness to be open and willingness
Yeah,
to open up your mind and actually take in what other people are saying. Like for example, like over time, obviously the stigma behind, you know, gay people, right? Your the community, right? Obviously it's getting better. There's a lot of challenges still to go through, right? But you still have like like even based on that, right? Like you have to be open and you have to understand where these people are coming from. You have to
yeah,
understand you may not be gay, so it doesn't affect you. But these
Yeah,
people are. They feel genuinely like
yeah,
that. You have to be open and just
yeah.
allow.
And if anything, if you don't understand, go out and talk with them, right?
100%. End of the day, what you'll notice once you talk to them, they're the same as you, man.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just,
people just want to fit in. So like majority of the society thing, like it literally starts from even in Canada. Let's put it in Canada, right? It starts off when we're in school. You see a group of kids. Those group of kids go like, yo, that's gay, right? Blah blah blah.
hmm,
It's like yo, even though you personally are like, I don't really hate that guy for that. But it's like, yo, I wanna fit in though. I'm not
yeah.
trying to be like the outsider. So it's like, yeah, that's okay, blah blah
Hmm.
blah. It all starts like that's like it's just like the kids grow up in such a systematic way of thinking. You have to unlearn all this
For sure.
bullshit. And you're right. You have to be the biggest problem is you have to be willing to. Like
Hmm.
even I'm talking about myself. Like you gotta be. It's so true. Like you gotta be willing to be like, yo, stop. Let me stop paying attention to nonsense, and let me start paying attention to things that are like more meaningful. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? That you can impact people's lives and shit.
and that's why information is so key that people keep talking about it, having discussions about it. Then it's easily accessible for people like who are open-minded and want to learn about it. So I think that's how society is progressing so far, and it's so important to just keep reposting, keep putting on those hashtags, even though someone might feel like, yo, you're not doing much, but there could be someone who might get knowledge from it and be like, yo, that's actually true, like this doesn't make any sense.
The most
And
important thing is education, right?
it's
If
just education.
you don't need to donate any money, bro. You don't need to go to the protests. You don't need to do any of this stuff. As long
Yeah,
as you spend some time just research, bro.
yeah,
Research and learn what the problem is.
yeah.
That itself is gonna take you so far. It's
And
gonna.
I'm not gonna lie. In I like I know a lot of people in my life. I have a big circle, but I'm not saying you guys are the only two, but you guys are two people that are very like I would say open minded and willing to learn. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I'm not that way. You know what I mean? Like I need to learn how to be that way. There's so majority of the people in my circle need to be that way. But you two, and in very different ways. Like Amar's more willing to read books. You know what I mean? A Paul doesn't read books at all, but he's also so informed. It's like it's very it's cool to me that like there's two people that are so woke. This is the correct situation to use the word woke. You two are like woke and open minded, but in two very different ways, which is cool.
I mean, to be honest, man, it's just like honestly, like I don't want to take any like it's almost like you need to be open to this. Like I can't like why would I want to be such a stubborn person and just believe that everything I think is right? Or if I think that I'm superior than one another, we're not. Like and like you think about it, like even growing up, even like the faith that we believe in, Sikhi, those like, what are the basic principles of that religion, right? What are the basic principles of all religions? When you
Yeah.
think about it, why are religions so big? Because the basic principles are being just a human, right?
Mm,
Being a human, a pure human, right? Living truthfully, right? living, behaving, all this stuff. There's so many things, right? But yeah, man, just gotta be willing to learn and know that the world doesn't revolve around you. That's one other thing. When you grow up, right, a lot of people are gonna think that the world revolves around you, right? Or if Corona's affected me, the Corona's affected me, oh man, everything went to shit. Bro, you're not the only
Which
one.
is insane because when Corona was affecting China, no one gave a shit over here.
Yeah.
We were
World
just like,
revolving on us. We're like, oh, fuck it, don't worry, don't worry. But the thing is,
Yeah.
we're all one, bro. What's affecting others is affecting us at the end of the day. And you
Even
just have
for
to be
me,
willing to learn.
in terms of my own open-mindedness, like there are some topics where I'm like very passionate and like I'm very stringent on my views, but I've also opened up and try to understand the other side and be a bit more neutral. I think the whole open-mindedness, even for me, just like came from experiences with debating with people, having discussions, and then eventually trying to understand, okay, this is what they're trying to say, this is what I'm trying to say, and then coming to a middle ground, right? I feel like even a lot of Punjabis, man, they're so strict on their views and they won't change anything, whether it even be religion or cultural.
But the thing with Punjabis, and the reason I'm talking about Punjabis, I'm not trying to focus on them because we're all Punjabis.
We're in that community, so we see that firsthand, right? Compared to
exactly.
We see it firsthand.
The
thing with Punjabis, it's not that they're just strict with their views. It's also they have a it's what you said about ego. The number one thing we all have to let go is ego. Punjabi people have a lot of ego, so it's it's not all obviously, but you know what I'm trying to say. And it's like it's not only that they believe in that. But first of all, a lot of them believe in shit that they haven't even educated themselves on, right? They just told us when they were younger, right? And all of a sudden, when somebody starts attacking them, they're not even it's not even an attack, but they look at it as an attack. Like, oh, you're telling me this is wrong? My core belief is wrong? No matter what, you're wrong. And they will fight till the death. You know what I mean? To make sure you're wrong. Because they don't want to lose. That's the thing. It's an ego thing, and it's like, and it's like what they've learned that they've not actually educated themselves on. Like what Amit said, Sikhi's core beliefs it's not hard to understand. You know what I mean?
It all comes down to ego, anger, lust, attachment, all these things. Like
truthfully, man, just
it's
honesty,
universal, man.
All that kind of stuff. The basic principles to being a basic, being a human, right? What are the laws of being just a human, right? A proper, just a pure human. That's all it is, right? End of the day, these things on hating one another based on skin color, caste, religion, like it's all bullshit, bro. End of the day, like the thing is, as time goes, we end up we start creating forms of tradition, rituals. We start making all these empty things. Like end of the day, some of these rituals and traditions we do, they're empty, bro. The basic meaning of all these things that we used to do, they're not even the reason we do them anymore. We just kind of do it. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like people stop learning about it and start just kind of just doing it. It's like that sheep mentality. Just start doing. Oh yeah, we're just gonna do this. But what? Why are you doing it? Right? Why are you being racist? Because my parents are like that.
Yeah, even like a lot of people when they do pot, right? Like for them, just saying the like argue. It's in my own family, man. I see aunties and everything. They're doing pot in their mind. They're doing pot. Whatever they're saying is they're doing their job. Their ears in the kitchen of what the conversation is going on, right? But they believe that we're doing our job by reciting these words, not understanding that you have to be fully in the moment, understand what you're saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And live by it. Just live by it too. It's like, even like you have like so many people say it. It's like end of the day, you can read as many books as you want. You could read 100 books in a year. You can read all the religious stuff you want. But if you don't live by it, it means nothing. If you read something and you can't live by it or apply it somehow in your life, it doesn't matter what you read. You can read the whole Guru Granth Sahib, and if you don't apply anything from that, right, you just wasting your time, right? So it's like, think about it, it's the same thing with the issues today. It's like, if you can't educate yourself on the issues today and why it's wrong, and open your mind to it, and you don't apply that to your everyday life, and it's just with you. Starting with you first. How can I become a better person? How can I become? Because at the end of the day, everybody's racist in some way, right? We make non-direct racist comments sometimes, right? It's from every culture. Like Punjabi culture is different. You have other cultures, and they're all different. They have their racist mark. But how do you become aware to that and say, you know what? It may be a joke. We might be just be joking right now, but this kind of stuff affects a lot of people, right?
Yeah, man. Starts
true,
off
man.
with start. I think that's what a lot of people need to do is starting off with themselves, then moving when
And then educating the
their
people around
community.
you, man.
Yeah, then educate people around you and within your community, starting up organizations,
Mm-hmm.
having a plan and an organized and systematic way, and like actually tackling these issues, right?
Yeah, it's simple that like even after just learning yourself and making that change with yourself, after that, even the people closest to you, bro, just even like
Yeah,
your
your
parents,
family.
man, even if
Yeah.
you like just giving that basic education that you know what, these things are wrong. You may have grown up, or if it's older people, like anybody, it doesn't have to be your parents, it could be anyone. You may have grown up with these stigmas, or you may have grown up with these things being okay, but they're not. Right? End of the day,
Mm,
you're doing the opposite, right? You're
yeah,
causing more harm than anything.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, a lot of the even our parents, a lot of them, it's like the generation above us. It's like it's almost. I'm not saying it's not your fault because I believe like everything is your responsibility, but they've been taught that according to their environment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
And it's
they
with us
don't
too,
even
man.
know.
Same thing like how you said about the school stuff. Like when we went to school, our environment taught us a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Like if groups of friends are being crazy homophobic or they're saying
yeah,
some remarks, we tend to just absorb that information. It's the
Mm,
same shit,
exactly.
right? And it's more about you becoming aware of yourself, right? And not falling for these traps or these small little things, right? That don't matter.
Yeah,
again, for them,
but
it's a lack of education on their end too, right? Those kids are not.
100%.
No one's taught them about
100%.
about
Yeah, man, we're coming down because I know we don't
about
have like all day for this stuff, but we're coming down to the final moments of final minutes of the podcast. But these are conversations that are needed, right? These
yeah,
like as much as it may not affect you, but it's affecting other communities. It's affecting our brothers and sisters, right? As much as you may not relate to a certain culture or a certain people, bro. End of the day, they're all our brothers and sisters, right? We're all one end of the day, and we have to help one another and be better humans, man. Overall,
it might
yeah.
not
I wanna.
directly relate, but the core principles are still the same, which is understanding and letting go of your ego, and it
mm-hmm.
applies in every situation, right? Whether
Yeah,
another
and I
community,
wanna.
yeah,
I wanna before like I know we're closing down now, but anyone that's watching, I wanna like recite these guys' message is that try to be more open minded, try to get more work. Me too, these guys as well, all of us. We're not trying to preach to you guys,
We all
but
got
please,
better.
yeah, whoever's watching, please try to stay more open minded. Please try to stay more woke, and don't let these issues die down. At least not in your own mind, because then you naturally start doing things yourself.
100%. Learn about it more, man. Watch videos, maybe read something. I know reading may not be fun for everyone. Maybe watch a movie, right? Watch a documentary or something. But educate yourself on these issues because they're real, man. And it may not affect you today, but it might affect you down the road. Or a lot of those times, these kind of things you don't notice them affecting you, right?
you don't
It may
know.
be you trying to apply for a job and you don't get it because maybe you're a different skin color, right? So again,
Yeah,
all these
and
problems,
you don't even know. Yeah,
it may not affect me, but it's affecting another person. End of the day, if it's affecting that person, it's affecting all of us. We're all one.
Yeah,
End of the day.
100%.
But man,
And
thank you
I
guys.
gotta give a shout out to one channel, Vokes.
Yeah,
That channel is actually really good. It's very short videos, like 5 to 10 minutes that touch on a lot of issues.
definitely, man. Yeah, man, I've seen that stuff too. They have like um they have videos based on like conflicts happening around the world, and kind of like it's like a history case where they'll teach you things or whatnot.
Yeah,
Man, I appreciate you guys coming. I know it wasn't that long, but it felt like it didn't feel, it went pretty quick. But appreciate you guys
yeah.
coming on, man. Another episode of RGB Radio may not be the typical funny shit that we do, but these are needed, man. These kind of conversations are completely needed.
100%.
Word.
But yeah, man. Until next time, we'll have a lot more episodes coming. We'll have a lot more silly stuff coming. But until then,
Peace out.